Today we're taking a look at an RC helicopter, something a little bit different here on the second channel. This thing looks really cool, even on the box. Now, if you've been watching my main channel, you would have noticed by now that I have been doing some helicopter content. And the reason is because I've always wanted to get back into RC helicopters. Around 20 years ago, when I tried to get into RC helicopters, everything was just too complicated. I did have a helicopter and I just kept crashing it, and in the end, I just got bored of it. Now, a company reached out and asked me if I'd like to feature an RC helicopter on my channel, and it did actually look really cool. So I said yes, and I thought to myself, look, I'm going to give this a go. 20 years later, how hard can it actually be? Now, I was pleasantly surprised at how good that was. I then tried something a little bit larger and more expensive, and again that turned out to be fantastic. But then some people left comments saying those are too expensive, you need to be looking at some of the cheaper options. So Ready to Run Hobby reached out and asked me if I'd like to feature this on the channel, which is a little bit more budget friendly. So this is by a company called RC ERA, and looking on the back it looks like there's lots of different options available. And I think there's also some secret ones coming too. You know, I have to admit, I have been enjoying doing something new on the channel. Of course, I'm always doing RC car reviews, so, you know, doing helicopters for a change is quite nice. It does, you know, break it up a little bit. Right, let's take a look at what we get in the box. So here we have a black and white manual. It looks like we've got a screwdriver and a spare towel rotor, another screwdriver and more body components. In this bag it looks like we've got some guns. So we'll take a closer look at the little Huey in a moment, but first let's have a look at the transmitter. So again, this one is by RC ERA. This one's a little bit more affordable compared to the other two helicopters that I've already featured on the channel. Now, even though this thing is small, it can take off on its own and it can also land on its own using the two buttons down below here. You've also got 3 different speed settings up on the top, and then this button here I think shuts everything down. I actually found some more goodies in the box. Here we have a spare set of blades and a USB charger. Finally, the battery is a tiny little 350 milliamp hour. This thing is tiny. So here it is, here's the little helicopter. Now this thing looks seriously cool. It's very, very lightweight, and I think this is going to be suited to running in, you know, conditions where there's minimal wind, because this thing is just going to get blown around like crazy. I'll show you a quick comparison in size compared to the other one that I featured recently. Of course, this one is larger, but it is more expensive compared to this. Now, if you're just getting into RC helicopters and you don't want to spend money on something like this, but you're happy to spend a little bit of money on something like this, which is way more affordable, this could be a solid option, especially if you're looking to run primarily indoors. This could be the one to go for. If you're looking to do outdoor stuff, then of course you want to be looking at something a little bit larger. I have to admit, I do find it strange doing RC helicopter reviews because it's something I never see myself getting back into. And I'll show you some cool close-ups of this little helicopter because it does look really cool. I do love the fact that there's many different body options available as well. So if you're not a fan of the Huey, check out some of the other options they've got out there. I will leave some links in the description below to check out all the other options that they do. Right, so let's give this a go. Let's see how this thing performs. Now, I've got it in the lowest speed setting. Let's press the automatic takeoff button. It's not as windy as it was the other day when I came out to test an RC helicopter. Now, there is a sensor underneath the helicopter which is going to help to stabilize it, although I think the wind pushed it away a little bit there. But this doesn't have GPS, of course, so stability is not going to be as good as a GPS enabled helicopter, for example. But in this price range, this is a much cheaper option compared to some of the other ones I've been featuring on the main channel. And some people said they're too expensive, especially the Goose Guy that I featured. I think that's around $500, and even though it's super cool, really easy to fly, I know that is out of, you know, price range for a lot of people. Let's see if I can fly this up a little bit. Now, it is fighting the wind a little bit. This thing is pretty small. My skills as a helicopter pilot are definitely starting to improve, although I've still got a long way to go before I'm a much better helicopter pilot. Now, as you can see, the wind is pushing this thing around a little bit, but the sensors are working to keep it centered. Now I'm going to go up to the second speed setting, and that does make it a little bit more responsive. It's already very responsive because it is small and a little bit twitchy. You know, you could have the argument that is something this small and twitchy good for a beginner. You know, the larger stuff is much more stable. But all I know is it is very easy to fly, considering its size. And that is what you want as a beginner. You want something that's easy to fly, inexpensive, and just works. And what with all the different bodies available as well, you can pick out your favorite one and just go and have some fun. Now apparently this can do inverted flight. I am by no means an advanced pilot yet, but apparently it has like a one touch, one key invert flight mode of some sorts. I may try it and be brave, and if it crashes, well, you know, I know not to do that again. Apparently you have to go up to 3 meters or above in the high speed setting, which I'm already on, and then press 3D mode and then hit the right stick, and apparently it should flip over on its own. Well, I'm going to give it a go. Let me move the camera again. Now you push up on the 3D button. Okay, so we're flying inverted. Something I never ever thought I would say I could do, because I'm just not that much of an experienced helicopter pilot. But this is actually really simple, as you can see on the video here. Of course, you haven't got the sensor underneath maintaining its position this time. You know, this is manual control now. And to do something like this, I would say, you know, practice first. I've been practicing quite a lot lately, so my confidence levels have gone up a little bit. But if you are brand new to this, then it may not be wise to go for inverted flight straight away. But this is just proof that even someone who has no idea what they're doing can pick one of these up and fly it inverted. Really easy, really simple, just really good fun. Right, I'm gonna get this flipped back over before I crash it, because knowing me, now it should be a case of pressing the 3D button again, hitting the stick, and it should bring it back round. And yeah, really simple, really easy to fly. When you get a gust of wind, it does kind of push it a little bit, but you know, that is to be expected because of the size of it. It's definitely not the largest thing out there, but just a really cool helicopter. So there we go then guys, a very cool beginner inspired machine, which is a lot more affordable compared to some of the other helicopters that I've featured on my channel recently. I do like the fact that you can fly this thing upside down at the push of a button. I think that's an incredibly cool feature which will be appealing to a lot of people. So if you've been thinking about getting into RC helicopters but you don't want to spend a huge amount of money and you want to go for the best thing available, I would say this is definitely one of the best options, especially when there's so many options available. You can pick out which one you like and just go for that. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this little Huey. I think it's super cool. Let me know in the comments. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one. Take care.